Hi everybody, Tasha here from Pixie Mommies Reborns. Welcome back to everyone new. Hello and welcome. So, I was actually excited to get on this evening to do a topic chat. And it's one that I saw this afternoon on Lynn's channel at Littlefoot Nursery. Hi, Lynn. I don't know why I keep doing that. It's Are we ever done collecting? And so far, I've seen two other collectors piggyback onto this topic because it really is a great one. It's not a new topic. It seems to be one that cycles around. And probably every so often, as we get kind of a new wave of new collectors coming in, because things change as you go along. So we're going to talk about that right now. But first, I'm going to introduce two of the babies out of my collection that you're looking at. I was going to bring up Stellan, but then I just didn't. So we have here, this is AZ, or his full name is Azariah, and he is the Azrael sculpt by Georgia Pagote, and he's done by Kimberly's Cocoon. So that's him. Look at those gorgeous lips. He has the most soulful eyes, the most endearing, soulful eyes. And look at those legs, look at those rolls. He's just a chunk of chocolate love. Yes, he is. So I brought AZ, and then we have one of my newer additions here is Orion. And Orion has not gotten much camera time. He's really brand new to me. He is the Romalie sculpt by Cassie Brace. And his artist is Tammy. Hi, Tammy, over at Paper City Dolls. So, look at this fire red hair. That wild red hair. And he is, oh my goodness, this one is a scrumptious monk too, really. So these babies actually have a lot of similarities, but also a lot of differences. And obviously I'm not taking you through my entire collection right now, but I will probably do an updated collection video. I usually like to do one about every 6 months because I do rotate and change my collection as I go along. So, but if you look through my whole collection and all my babies together, you will notice one very particular thing. There is a huge amount of diversity in my collection, from sculpts to sizes of babies to open eyes to sleeping to I have a painted hair, to different color hair, to different ethnicities. Just you name it, there's diversity, lots and lots of it. So are we ever done collecting? Well, it's really nice to kind of cycle a topic around when it comes up a chat. I had a really fun time this afternoon listening to Lynn and her talking about it. And then I listened to Wendy over at Weeby Dolls. And then later this evening, I listened to Inez at the Reborn Doll Collective. This might air tomorrow morning, so I don't know how many more of you will go on with the topic. So I apologize if I've left anyone out subsequently. Anyhow, my take on it is no. We are never done collecting, or no, I should say I am never done collecting. This is definitely a hobby that when I came in, I was just like, if I could just get one reborn, if I could just have, one doll, one of these dolls. I knew nothing about sculpts. I knew nothing about the different artists. I just, as Inez says, it's like you're kind of tripping over yourself the first year. But my first, I was just, I think I don't even know if I asked the question or if I just saw in one of the Facebook buy and sell, basic like reborn doll buy and sell. Some people talking about 3/4 limbs being more cuddly than full limbs, and whatever your taste, and blah 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 blah. So, my first reborn doll was 3/4 limbs, both arms and legs. Now I have to say that although my uh, overall preference now is definitely full limbs, for the realism, for dressing them, for pleasing my own eye. Just that's what I like. That's what I look for. I wouldn't necessarily turn down a doll. Like, for instance, AZ, he has 3/4 arms. Um, there's not a lot of his sculpt. It's like a 200 and something, I think, edition. I would have to look. And I believe that there were some of his sculpt available in full, like it was available in full and 3/4, I think. Don't quote me on that. I know on the what was Kayushi's sculpt? The Kiko sculpt, because they actually had the same limbs, but very, very different baby. They did have full limbs. She did have full limbs on that, Georgia Pagot or Pagot. Anywho, no big deal. Just saying, this was the baby that was available. I looked at him on a whole. I fell madly in love with him. Many of you that have been with me know that I'm a huge fan of, Kimberly's work. So, the having the 3/4 limbs on the arms was irrelevant to me. In fact, for him, if I could have the same baby and he would have full limbs, maybe I would pick, maybe. But, he's just, I don't know. There's just something about him, the way he is. And if you look at his whole cloth body, with the 3/4 limbs, I don't know. There's something appealing to me. It doesn't look awkward. So, yeah, I really love him just the way he is. So anyhow, 3/4 legs would really, really bother me, I think. But, I learned in this hobby never to say never, never to say forever. You learn those things as you go along. So, hey, 2 years from now, a doll could come up that has 3/4 limbs that I'm madly in love with, and maybe I'll be at a different place in my collecting. Maybe my dolls will be more of a display. Maybe I'll have a cabinet or some shelving set up or something better than my kind of shuffling around right now with all going on. So therefore, if I had dolls displayed and I wasn't changing them on video and whatever, I might feel differently. So that's the beauty of the reborn and silicone doll collecting, is we are allowed to change our minds, right? And as women in general, hey, you're allowed to change your mind. So, and that's what does happen. When you first come in, it's, I'll just be happy with one doll, and it's a forever baby, forever and ever. I could never let this doll go. And before you know it, you immerse yourself in the hobby, and a few dolls down the road, and I did the same thing as Wendy was saying. I said, okay, then just three. And of course I was looking at the expense as well. And if you look at, I know if I look at my habits, it just kept going up and up quickly. Because you're, trying to achieve that realism. You're now discovering artist sculpts. You're now looking at new sculpts coming in. You might have an Instagram or a Facebook. And the more, relevant you become, up to date as you become. And there is so much information to take in, so much information to learn. We're always still learning. I honestly still feel new. I still say, like, I'm not, I'm still feel new, So we just kind of go and go. There's always new sculpts coming out. There's always new artists, coming up, getting better, where, there's just so, we don't know, well, I don't know every single artist that's out there, every single sculptor. So I'm still at the point where sculpts and artists will come up that I've never seen before, even that are not new. That happens. So for many of us, many of us, we get to the point where we have to make decisions in our collection, and we have to start letting dolls go. We have to sell to buy. You make an initial investment. Some people, it takes longer than others to keep moving up, but usually then if you sell a doll, you then add a little bit to that and then get your next, and so on and so forth. So you're not getting, reamed all at once. And you move up that way and you're enjoying yourself as you go along. I see a lot of collectors doing that. I've certainly done that. I can definitely say to all of you here, this is my opinion. This is many's opinion, and really just the way that it is. There are no set rules on collecting, on buying and selling, on how many dolls you can have, how many dolls you can sell, how many you're supposed to keep, how long you're supposed to keep them. Everybody does to what fits their circumstances, and I think that we all collect what fits us as an individual. We collect the types of dolls that we enjoy, as far as their looks, as far as what sculpts we like, what artists we love, all of that shebang. And we obviously, there's a financial component to it, and these dolls can get very expensive, so we all collect within our means, and we all do it the way that it works for us. And so there's no right or wrong way, as long as you're doing what works for you, as long as you're not spending beyond your means, to where you can't take care of your family, or, I don't see anybody going living in a cardboard box to collect dolls. Do a lot of ladies here say, oh, I really overdid it. I really shouldn't have. Have I? Yeah. But, all in all, we're still okay over here, and that can happen with anything. I've bought purses or, boots or shoes or something where I was like, I really kind of, but you work hard to make up for that, and, you treat yourself sometimes anyway. And that's our own personal business. It's, it's just something that's, I guess you learn as you go along, that it's just proper etiquette that you kind of do your collecting your way, what works for you, watch others, learn from others, learn over time, etc., have fun learning. There's so much information to learn. It's so much fun going through the process and the journey. For me, I tell you all the time, a huge part of why I enjoy YouTube, other than the fact that I truly enjoy spending the time with my collection, talking to all of you, is that it documents your journey here. So I can look back 2 years ago and laugh at myself and say, yeah, forever, baby, right. Oh yeah, just this one more this year because I just can't do it. I just can't do another one. Oh yeah, right. You know, you're, we all do it. You put your foot in your mouth. But it's fun. It's like nothing serious. We're talking about doll collecting here. So it's not like, oh my goodness, I broke this huge promise to someone. It's a matter of changing your mind. So I learn kind of what I say now, what my opinion is now, isn't necessarily going to be in the future as far as, how many dolls I would like in my collection, what my taste is, etc., etc. That changes. And, I have thoughts down the road. Oh, let me back it up. I think that I enjoy seeing people that have one doll in their collection. I think that it definitely, of course, takes a lot of restraint to be able to do that. But I see the appeal to it for sure. The realism of just having the one baby and doing everything for that one baby, focusing on that one baby. For me, I don't have that kind of restraint. I am a person, I'm an active person. I have a very eclectic taste. I do get bored very quickly. I like to just kind of, it's me. It's my personality. I'm a very sentimental person in certain ways, and I would say, here's something. I would say that I have had to exercise self-control. I don't know if you would say self-control. I don't really know the word for it. But once I realized, like, wow, I can't just collect every doll I want. I don't have the money, I don't have the space, and I don't have the time. I have to let dolls go to bring more in. I had to learn when I got dolls, and of course you are overjoyed and you love the baby that you're bringing home. And could that baby wind up being one that, yes, she is going to be a forever baby and stays in your collection? Certainly, it's possible. I have a couple myself here. But for the most part, you love that baby in the moment. It's what your, mind is set on at the time. You're experiencing that baby, whether it looks like one of your kids, whether it's a kit you've wanted for a long time, or from an artist you've wanted for a long time, whatever it is. But as you grow, or as I grew, I was able to, put into perspective that these are not puppies that we are adopting here and giving forever homes. These are collectible works of art. They're a lot of money, and we own them. They are our belongings. So I had to be able to, put myself in a place where I was able to detach and say, this is just a doll. And, if I'd like something new and I'd like to go on, I have to let this doll go. So that's where I got my own head in the headspace, so that I'm not looking at a doll when I'm wrapping it up, bawling my eyes out, saying, I'm so sorry. Because trust me, the doll doesn't know the difference. As much as they look and feel and sometimes smell like real babies, they're not. They are not alive. They are inanimate objects. When we form a bond with these dolls, it is a one-way bond, although they can bring us comfort and they can bring us joy and all of that. That is from within ourselves. It's from what we love and what we're finding enjoyment in. It's a self. I don't know if that has made sense. You all know I'm kind of all over here or there, but so I would say for that reason and for collecting in general, whatever type of collector you are, as far as what hobby you're collecting in, it is, of course, very, very common to see people buy, sell, and trade within their hobbies, upgrade within their hobbies. Yes, there are some people that collect, I don't even know an example, a series of something, or, like plates or Hummels or something where it goes in a china cabinet and they're numbered, and you want to get every number in the edition, and you keep that collection and you pass it down to your kids and they pass it down to their, of course. I mean, that's just a different type of collecting. From what I have seen so far in the doll hobby, it's, uh, unless you are, I mean, that'd be pretty hard to collect every doll in an edition, because let's just take AZ for example. Then there's 200 something in just this Sculpt's edition. So you would be collecting 200 and something babies of that edition to complete your collection and put on a shelf and have a complete collection that you don't sell out of, that you don't want to break, the collection at all, that's going to get I mean, they're not collected in that way from what I've seen. Some people look for like a one of a kind, like a clay sculpt or something like that. You could have, more than one of a kind clay sculpt, things like that. But again, it's just kind of like the sky is the limit, because it's just not that type of collecting. Yeah, they're numbered within their edition, within their sculpt. Well, some of them anyway, and some of them are limited editions, but I have yet to see a collector here that collects every single doll in an edition, in a Sculpt's edition. Or every single sculpt an artist puts out. Well, maybe that. I don't know. Does anybody here have every single sculpt to date from any one particular sculptor? That's, of course, possible. I'm curious. As to what you all have seen, especially those that you have been here a long time. Any different ways of collecting like that, like everybody has every single sculpt from one sculptor, and anything, else like kind of that we haven't thought of or hasn't come up. But anyway, for the most part, as I said, there is certainly no criteria. You could have one doll, you could have 100 dolls, you could have 100 dolls and sell 2 a week. It just doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. And so anyway, for me, I'm trying to think. I think I have 12, 13, 11, somewhere around there in my collection at the moment. I would have to stop and count. I did not do that ahead of time, but I thought I did it recently. But now I'm thinking, was I counting them myself? I'm not sure. Anyway, around 11 to 13 plus 2 silicones, I don't know if I counted my Pixie girl, but she is a reborn doll sculpt, so I don't know. Anyway, that's about what I have in my collection now, and I think as far as numbers, although I have I have bought and sold different babies, I think as far as numbers, that's where I've been lingering for about a year or so, I would say. I feel like I'm definitely at my maxed out, even though I don't have like a cutoff in my head, like you can have this amount and that's it. I just kind of feel I'm really at my limit, and I have to let go to let come in, because I feel like I'm over my limit as far as enjoying the different babies. I have a hard time selecting who I'm going to bring on video, who I'm going to change, who I'm going to take pictures of, because I like to be kind of interact with my dolls in that way. I love taking the photos, etc., etc. So then what I wind up, if I feel myself getting overwhelmed and I want to downsize, I start looking at, well, what dolls do I interact with the least, take the least photos of, etc., etc. There may come a time in the future where I'm going to be looking and say, well, who's a sold out limited edition that I could never replace, that sort of thing. If I start, putting dolls away or up on a shelf or something like that. But right now I kind of do like to, interact with them all. So anyway, that is what I have to say on that topic chat. So thank you again, Lynn, and to the other ladies that I enjoyed this afternoon and this evening listening to the topic. And I would also love to hear from all of you. Are we ever done collecting? How do you collect? Because again, it's always so fun to learn from everybody what they do and why, what makes you tick in your collecting, right? So either leave that for me in the comments. If you have your own channel, of course, feel free to piggyback on the chat like I did, or do both, comment and piggyback, and that's about it. All right, everyone. If you enjoyed this video and you would like to see more, feel free to subscribe. Don't forget to hit that notification bell so you never miss a video and receive invites to my live streams. And if you enjoyed, thumbs up. If you didn't enjoy, I guess, thumbs down. Can't see why you'd be at the end if you didn't enjoy, right? All right, ladies and gentlemen, till next time, God bless.